All right, we're going to get started now. So there's only a few of you, so I'm going to keep the slides pretty brief, and what we can do is just make this more of like a conversation with you guys. And if you have any questions, you can ask them to us, and then we'll have like a bit of a chat with our reps who did second year last year, third year people, yes. So you can ask them any questions about what it's like to be a student rather than us as the out-of-touch lecturers who might not have as much insight. So we'll just briefly go over three sort of main questions. So why am I doing this? What do I still need to gain from uni as a second year going into my second year in a psychology course at university? What do I have that's going to help me stay on track, and who can I talk to if things start to go off track? So what do you need to gain still? Well, obviously you're in psychology, so you probably want to learn something about human knowledge and behaviour and insight, and that's something that you'll definitely be expanding your horizons on as you go further into this degree. So you're sort of moving away from just learning the basics of, cognition and learning or whatever topics you're taking, and sort of getting more into those, juicier, maybe more applied questions this year. You'll also be learning a lot of transferable skills, obviously from university, things like, how to keep to deadlines, how to learn how to write things, how to, learn how to analyse research reports that you can all transfer to different career opportunities. So you might not just be using your psychology degree to go into a degree that's directly related to psychology, but in fact there's a whole list of things that you might want to take these skills into. It may also just be for your own personal growth and self-understanding, so getting to know yourself better, getting to know your own emotions, getting to know how your own brain works. And also you could use it as a pathway to further study. So if you don't take your psychology degree into one of those whole list of different careers that you could take your undergraduate degree into, you may want to stay on to do something further on in the future. These are all things that you already know. But what things are going to help you stay on track? If we look at the sort of 5 senses of student success, we can see that some of the really key ones is being able to build connection, capability and resourcefulness. So I'm just going to give you like a few different things and ideas that you may not have thought about to sort of help you build these things as you go into your second year here. So one of the biggest things is literally just to come to class. So to come to campus, come to class. You guys have already got a head start because you guys are actually physically in the room. There's a lot of people that aren't here that might be watching this online, and I would say to those people, please come to class and come to campus for a number of reasons. The first is obviously building connections is much easier if you're seeing someone face to face, whether you're just watching them on like a video talk. And you just never know what's going to be happening around campus. So you might come and there's like something happening in the hub, or you might come and someone says, hey, do you want to come to a quiz night? You might end up building friends, so you never know who you're going to meet. So I would just say as the first port of call, first thing that you can do to help yourself going into second year or any year really at uni is just to come to class. Another thing that you can do, which I wasn't very familiar with, but they've got a really cool website, I just grabbed this from the website, is there's like a lot of clubs that you can join as well, and that might be another thing that you didn't think about to like form a connection, or you can like make a club. I don't know what's involved in that, but I'm sure that, that could be kind of a fun process. You could also just join the gym, so there's like a lot of group fitness classes. That may be another opportunity to like get you onto campus, do a few different activities on campus, meet new people. These are all pretty basic things. Another thing that you might want to consider is forming sort of study groups. So you could sort of set up a regular study schedule with people that you are meeting in class. And you could use this as an opportunity to sort of practice professional skills, get creative, create your own study questions. So if you've got like sort of applied problems you're working on each week in class, you could sort of generate your own. You could probably get ChatGPT to help you generate some, and then you could answer them. You could celebrate your wins as well, so you could like, schedule little things that you might want to do as a group. I know in my honours year we were pretty good at this. We had like a shared Facebook group that we would do things in, like wine tours and fun things like that, so that can be a good opportunity to sort of bond with your fellow classmates. You may also want to become a course representative. I think there's a link at the bottom here. I'll put these slides, I don't know where, maybe on my second year course. I'm not sure where they need to be disseminated to, but has some resources and links and things which you can go and explore afterwards as well. You may also want to be a bit more career aware as you're going into your second year, maybe thinking about third year and fourth year, and thinking about what you might want to take those skills I was talking about earlier and apply them to. So grad programs and applications tend to close around March of each year, so just thinking towards like when you might want to be applying for different types of programs. Begin to work on your identity online, so like LinkedIn, and exploring your career options using the Career Hub, which is a pretty good resource. And there's also a career newsletter, which has a lot of different announcements and things. And also like keeping an eye on like what's posted on your Canvas announcements boards, because often TCs will get sent things and we'll post them on the boards, like job opportunities and other things that you might be interested in. There's also a Horizon Award, which you can complete different activities. So things such as workshops, like how to build a good resume, etc., those kind of things. There's like a website, and you should be able to sign up to things once they become available for this year. And you collect points by doing each one of these workshops, and then you can win an award, which obviously looks really good on your CV. You may also wish to consider starting to do some volunteer work. So this one's really important if you're ever considering maybe going into, say, like a research career pathway, if you want to do honours, or if you want to be doing like a clinical pathway out of psychology, because a lot of those programs are going to be looking for people that have already done a little bit of clinical experience, like when you do those interviews. So you could volunteer in a research lab at Flinders. So like my lab, for instance, takes volunteers from like second year, third year, fourth year, people that want to come in the lab and gain research experience. But you may also wish to consider volunteering in the community, because like most, if not all, clinical applicants in psychology programs will have some experience in some of these volunteer areas. So you probably need that to sort of be on an even playing field with a lot of people. So sometimes people will get to the end of like their honours degree and they haven't done any of this, and then they realise they're competing with a lot of people that have done a lot of time in these clinical areas already. So that's probably something, as you're going to second year, third year, start to think about that. So who will I talk to if things start to go off track? Obviously, you might have seen that there's sort of that a big focus on wellbeing on Canvas. There's like a wellbeing tab with support services and things. You're probably all aware of those already. But something that I've found really helpful recently is this model here, which is sort of the it's a model just to sort of help to describe when is the most optimal time that you'll be able to focus and work on tasks. And it's called the window of tolerance. And basically, there's certain activities that might shrink our window of tolerance and certain things that might expand them. And there's sort of these two areas that you might find yourself falling into. The first is like when you're really, really dysregulated because you're really stressed and you're too overwhelmed, like say you've got exam stress and everything's happening too much and you're sort of in a state of hyperarousal and you're feeling really anxious and distressed. And the other one, which I think also a lot of students fall into, is this sort of hyperarousal area where you start to feel really numb and disconnected. Maybe you're not coming into class, you're ignoring watching your lectures, or your recordings are piling up, and you're getting into this sort of procrastination paralysis. And that's like a really sort of dangerous one, because once you start doing that and you fall behind, then maybe you'll go back to the hyperarousal one where you're feeling really anxious because you're behind. So I guess, yeah, just if keeping this in mind this year, try and really focus on things that help you expand your window and sort of focus on, being a person that can think about stress in a different way. So if you're feeling really, really stressed all the time and you're approaching tasks with this sort of with this mindset that's making you feel threatened, I guess maybe try and reappraise it a little bit, that maybe it's not stress, but it's a challenge. Do some things that expand your window, you know, go for a walk, try and do some self-care, some hobbies, step away from it for a while, and then try and come back to it and see if you can better manage that feeling. But yeah, so I like that one. So what if I need help? Flag it early. So this is a big one as well. So sometimes what happens is that students who are, I guess if you're in that sort of zone where you're feeling really like shut down or really overwhelmed, you may wish to just like withdraw from things completely. But if you tell us, or like your topic coordinators and things, that you're actually feeling really stressed and that you do need more time, or that you need more support early on in this process, we can do a lot more to help you. Because if you get to the end of the semester and you haven't done any of your assessments and it's like really past the due dates, there's not really anything that we can do to like sort of get you back from that point. So early on is definitely better than later on. There's also, as I said, there's like a big tab on Canvas that's like all about mental and academic support that you should be using. There's a lot of great resources on there. And of course, you can access disability access plans and non-English speaking background cards, which you can submit to your topic coordinator. So I've got submit early so that we can apply limitations on quizzes. So I actually set up a little Dropbox on my Canvas pages so students can put them all in there and they're all collated for me. But other topic coordinators might want you to like email them to them. But if you do that early, that means your topic coordinator is aware and they can like put extra timing on quizzes and make sure you have like all the accommodations that you need. All right, so that's enough of me just rambling on about things that you probably already know. So now we've got our panel here. So I guess we have one lecturer and two students, and I've just got some questions that we can ask them. But also if you guys have any questions for me or any of our students as well. I guess maybe I'll throw it out to the audience first. Do you guys have any questions that you want to ask someone that's already been through this experience, or about how second year works, or anything about psychology, or yeah, any of the above? Yeah.
What did the kind of jump from first year challenges to second year challenges feel like for both of you?
That's a good question. I'm Juliet, by the way. I'm Ella.
We are your psychology course representatives. And so I think for me, there was a jump in the workload that was expected weekly. Particularly in terms of the material you're expected to learn before coming to class. So there's definitely an expectation that you're across certain material before coming to cognition and learning or research methods. And in research methods, we also learnt some new skills around coding and having to navigate different computer softwares for the first time when working with research data. So that was definitely a new challenge for me going into second year.
And I'm Ella. As I said before, for me, I'd say same as what Jules says, it is a bit of a jump with the workload, but I found it more with semester 2 because you're doing a lot more of the psych classes. And then, once again, there's more preparation. You do some group work as well. But yeah, it's kind of a step up. You're learning a lot more new skills, whereas I think what a lot of people can agree with in semester 1, it's a lot of similar stuff you might have done when you did in high school psych. But this one, is a big step up. So, anyone?
Make sure though that if you haven't quite done your weekly prep, don't let that be a reason to not come to class. So despite there maybe feeling like an increase in the workload expected to cover before you come to class, coming to class, even if you haven't done any of that workload, is really important. You're still going to get a lot of benefit. No one, including any of your topic coordinators, is going to sit there looking at you committedly for not having done it. We're people, we understand that life happens, but you're going to get a good amount of value by just being there, and you'll probably get some of that pre-work by osmosis, by being in that classroom or that workshop for that week, making, when you go back to do it, maybe even that little bit faster. So make sure that you still come even if you haven't done it. That's all. I'll just add like little tidbits here and there.
I'll pick up on that and just add that. So one of the points that Tori made before was interacting and connecting with other people and attending in person. If you are, attending classes in person, but even if you're doing some topics online, really engaging with the other people in your topic in the most interactive way possible. And it really is possible to really engage and interact with other people. So simple things, putting your camera on, talking with your voice in group chats is a really simple way to form connections with other people. And it might seem that some of those connections are necessary, but they're actually really an important resource in your learning. Having those peers, peer relationships as you go through second and third year, as the load increases, as the content becomes a bit more complex, you are expanding the people that you can reach out to, the people who can remind you of little things that you might have forgotten. And the more you attend in the most interactive ways possible, the easier it is for you to ask those questions of other people as well. So I really want to, emphasize both of those points. And on Ali's point, coming to the workshops, it requires so much less effort to ask a question live than to sort of formulate your question in an email or in the chat function. So it just makes it easier for you to get the answers that you need.
I'll probably just add to that. I found the easiest way to connect with people and form relationships with people in lectures was actually finding a club or a reason to meet others outside of class. And that way, when you get to class, and often it's quite focused environment, it's easier to connect those people and find them in the crowd. So I've found a group of people through doing student representative work and also going to events hosted by the Flinders Psychology Student Association. So yeah, just get out there as much as possible, and it really makes all the difference. Yes, what's your question?
This is a very specific question, but for those who are in the honors stream and trying to maintain that position, I understand that the GPA requirements sort of change every year depending how everyone else performs, but what do you think would be like a good baseline to abide by throughout the year?
I think the answer is probably not a satisfying one, but it's a simple one, and that's just to do your best in all your topics, and to keep in mind that things count from now. So I think you're already, just even by being aware of that, are doing most of the work that you need to do. Often this becomes something that students focus on in third year, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves sort of later in the game. So I think being aware of that and doing your best and trying to enjoy the topics that you do the most is one of the simplest things that you can do. Do you want to add anything onto that?
Yeah, I don't know, just stay on top of your assignments.
Yeah.
Follow them up.
Yep. Ali, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, sorry, Casey, I was like, although I do tend to yell, so that's not hearing me is not usually the problem. So can I just make sure I understood the question? What was the question again? It was, I understand that the GPA kind of changes every year because the honors pamphlet thingy, it says that if you're an honor student already, like you're in the stream to go into honors, and if you want to maintain that position, you should have a certain GPA, like maintain a certain GPA. And I wanted to know what that was. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so good. Let's make sure we're crystal clear on this. For those Bachelor of Psychology honor students, if you go to the handbook, the student handbook, and I can show you how to do that afterwards if you like, in there it clearly states that in second year, the expectation is that you have a GPA of 5.0 in all of your psych-coded topics. So those are the topics that have, PSYC, and then the numbers following them. Now, before you can get into third year, right? That is a soft inherent requirement. What that means is that we still let you go in third year, even if your GPA is below 5, but we're flagging it and we'll reach out to you guys if you have a GPA usually below 5.5 in second year topics. If you're moving into third year, we'll reach out to you and just sort of bring that to your attention and offer some support about how we can work with you to improve your chances of then securing your position in that fourth year in honors year. In order to get your position in fourth year, it really is the GPA of 5.5 in all of your second and third year topics. So that's why it's a bit of a soft inherent requirement, because you still have all of your third year psych topics in order to up that GPA to get to the 5.5. Really importantly, we've got 2 core topics as part of your sequence in third year in semester 1 for the Bachelor of Psychology honor students only. That's Psych 3011, it's a placement topic, and Psych 3012, interviewing and counseling. These are NGP topics. That means that when we use the language, all second and third year psych topics attempted are counted in the GPA progression rule. Those 2 topics are NGP, which means they don't count towards your GPA. They don't hurt it and they don't help it. Yeah. So you have to have that consistent GPA. Now, how do you, as in like ideally 5.5 or higher? So ideally even higher, but you get your spot as long as it's 5.5. How do you go about ensuring, which I think is where we were coming at it? Yes, there's all those good ideas of making sure that, you You just do the best that you can do. But don't forget a lot of those strategies that we talked about in Psych 1A predominantly. Things like using your calendar, a simple but really effective tool to actually schedule study time, schedule personal well-being time, right? Thinking about interleaving your study strategies. Yes, you're not studying just for cognition and learning and nothing else because you've got a quiz coming up. The evidence is really clear that if you interleave that with some other topic material, you're actually going to do far better. You're going to help that information get to your longer-term memory better. So if you're unsure about study strategies or the ones that really fit with you, we do have people employed at the university that are specifically devoted to your academic and well-being success. There are student success and well-being advisors. Ours is this fantastic woman named Mel. You can request a booking with her to just chat about what might work, or you can ask any one of your topic coordinators or us to refer for you. It's a really useful, free resource to you. Alternatively, of course, we have the Student Learning Support Services, and if you haven't already, I'd really strongly encourage you to take Psych 1108, or the Psychology of Surviving and Thriving, Thriving and Surviving, and I can never remember which order they're in. But point being, that is a topic that is entirely devoted to supporting your academic and well-being success, both while at uni and then beyond. So, and do exactly as you're saying, come and have more chats. Talk to us about other strategies and that sort of thing.
Can I actually add a little bit about this? Yes, please.
Hi, sorry, I'm Jackie. I'm one of the enrolment and course advisors for this college, and psychology is one of the areas that I support. If you are not currently in the Bachelor of Psychological Science honours, if you are doing a Bachelor of Psychological Science or a Bachelor of Psychology graduate entry, and you are still thinking about applying for honours for the fourth year, we get a lot of queries about that as enrolment advisors. And all I want to say is if you have a specific enrolment question, I can't stay at the end of this session, unfortunately, because I've got to go to a social work session. You can submit an Ask Flinders request if you are unsure about whether you're in the right stream, if you're enrolling in the right topics. But I just wanted to reiterate what everybody else said, that to get the best GPA you can get, contacting us and asking us exactly what GPA you need is not what you need to do. You just need to be focusing on doing these things to support yourself, to support your studies, to support your mental health, because I can calculate a GPA for you, but I can't get the grades for you. So if you're just focusing on getting the best grades that you can get, that's the best thing you can be doing to preparing for honours. But an actual technical enrolment question, if you're not sure if you're in the right topics or the right degree to get into honours, you can submit an Ask Flinders request and we'll be able to get back to you with all of those technical issues. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't stay at the end of this session, but that's where you can get in contact with myself and your other enrolment and course advisors. And I only bring it up because we do get a lot of honours questions from second year students. So we are here to help, but I just won't be here at the end of this session today. So thank you for that. I'll give you that one back. No worries, I can write it up here.
This is more directed to you, Ali. Just wanted to confirm, for the wellbeing subjects, they can be included as second and third year electives, is that correct? Okay.
That's right. So any topic that's coded well, so it has WELL, and then we have 1, 001, 02, 03, 04. At the moment, I'm still granting upper level electives. So that means second and third year electives for any of those well topics. And that's purely because the content in which you engage with in those topics is really quite comparable. They're practically designed topics. They, in response to a lot of student feedback from previous years that said, hey,
we're loving all the psychological content, we like the breadth, we like the depth, but we're missing some of those more practical elements within the well-being or sort of counseling space. These well topics do a really fantastic job at doing that. So the narrative for you guys in second year and beyond is that we're still willing to grant upper level electives for those. I've made changes for anyone who's starting psychology this year. As a first year student, they actually have an option topic that's weaved into their study planner, into their design. So they will naturally be taking these topics. But for you guys, certainly, you can take them as upper level electives. And I really encourage you to do so. Yeah.
Is there any window for someone in the graduate entry program to pick up a few of those?
Oh, short answer is no, but maybe we can have a conversation after to think about how we might be able to facilitate that. Yeah. So maybe we can take that offline, and anyone else who's in the graduate entry program, we can have a chat. Any other questions for your course reps?
I would just say quickly on the well topics, there's one that I took last year, which was really great for someone who's looking to get into the counselling and clinical side of things. So supporting others' mental health and well-being is one of the well topics, and that offers really practical support for counselling skills and intro to counselling, and you have a chance to role play a lot of the skills learnt in class. And so if you're looking for more of the practical side of things, I definitely recommend that. I'm not sure if it's running in semester 2, but it's definitely running this semester. And yeah, that's predominantly online, but there is an optional tutorial. So if you're looking for more flexibility as well, that's a great option.
Question should be directed to, but I aspire to go into Masters of Clinical Psychology, and I understand to do that it's recommended, like it said in the PowerPoint, to do volunteer work. Because I didn't see it on there, just to clear up my confusion, I wanted to ask if volunteering at an aged care is sort of like a good thing to do, because I've been doing it since November. And it involves like doing one-on-one, so you go to a resident's home and then you just sit with them for a while, or you assist them with activities and stuff, so that kind of work.
I would say that all of that volunteer experience is good, right? And so it's just about the context and more about what skills you're demonstrating in that context. And so I think you could speak to your interpersonal skills, working with vulnerable populations, and these are all important skills that the panel will be really interested in when you come to apply for a position on the Clinical Masters program.
Another question on volunteering. How do people fit that into their lives?
That's a good question. Anybody in the room who volunteers, do you want to comment on that, on how you fit it into your life?
I just sort of, I do it every Sunday, and I do it in afternoons with a set time. It's really like just whatever day you're free, you know. I did it on weekends because it was just convenient. During the school holidays or like uni holidays, it's a very good time to do work and volunteer work in like a really big scale.
You might not also need that as well. So if you already have like other life experience slash work experience slash things that you've experienced over, you know, the time you've been studying or whatever, you don't, like, it's not a hard and fast rule you need it. It's just more like if people, like, they're just studying psychology and they're sort of coming out of high school and they don't really have a lot of experience or in the workplace or things like that, that's when they're really looking for like those sort of things. But if you have sort of like, maybe you've already got like a part-time job that you've been doing and it has sort of relevance for this area, or you can show or demonstrate how it might have relevance for that area, like that can totally be a thing as well. Yeah. So it's not like a rule that you have to have it. It's just like, it can help you. If you don't have anything else that you could possibly say, like you've just studied at university and you've come out of high school sort of thing, that's probably when you would need like a bit more of that. But yeah, it's not like a rule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I just quickly add something? We've got to rush off. But I would just say there's so many volunteer opportunities here at the university. So getting involved in student rep work and even as a wellbeing ambassador is really great wellbeing specific volunteer experience. So there's lots and lots of opportunities here that you can fit in and around your studies, which are really great. You can also volunteer at places like FUSA or get involved with the Student Psychology Student Association. But yeah, check out what's here already on campus.
I was just going to say, I think with volunteering, because it's so broad, I think one of the best things that I find is doing something that you are really actually passionate about, and being such a broad sector, whether it's aged care, disability, mental health, anything like that. If you're studying psychology, like finding something that you find really that you're passionate about, it doesn't become a chore, and it doesn't become something that you're having to squeeze in. It becomes something that you're prioritizing over screen time or something like that. Like it doesn't have to be 8 hours every single week. It could be a couple of hours here and like picking up a bit extra in the uni breaks. But yeah, finding something that you are really passionate about to actually give in, I guess. That works.
Yeah, another challenge I guess I found with like volunteering is it's so easy to be like, oh, I can just pick up a shift during my volunteer time, and you really need to prioritize it because it's like it's unpaid work. You are giving your labor for free, and sometimes like you can feel a bit not like hard done by, but like I'd prefer to be working, or I'd prefer to be like working out or doing something for me. But I guess it's finding something that you love and adore, and also being really strict with yourself. Like my supervisor for my volunteering, she's so flexible, like because I volunteer in aged care, so like if I'm sick, no go. If it's like this, no go. So like if I'm not there, she's like, oh, totally, I'll see you next week. So it's a big battle of being like, this is important to me, I want to grow my skills, and I enjoy doing it and growing my skills. Yeah, good luck on your volunteering journey.
Yeah, I really encourage you to think of volunteering as an opportunity to apply the knowledge and skills that you're learning in your topics, but also keeping in mind that it's free training. So just as Caitlin was saying, you are getting a development of your knowledge and skills. For people in the grad entry program, I can totally understand the vast majority of those people are working parents, or life is already jacked. It's already quite busy. So I'd encourage you to think really broadly about what constitutes as volunteering, and encourage what Tori's sentiment was before around, do I really actually need this to have a truly compelling application at the postgrad level? So volunteering for clinical places, in masters, or once you've finished your undergrad degree, you can go as broad really as you can think. It's about how you relate that experience to the skills that are needed within clinical training. So, I did things, once upon a time, I applied for a clinical training program before I was offered my job here. I was at a crossroads, and it was kind of like, well, my contract is up. I'm either going to become a clinician or someone's going to offer me a job. And when I went and started applying, I didn't have many volunteering because the vast majority of my time while I was studying was teaching to support my lifestyle while I was studying. So I did lots of teaching on the side because I needed money to pay rent and food and take care of myself, that sort of thing. But I related my teaching to clinical skills